Me and my boyfriend have been in a relationship for 7 years. This is going to be a long story, so please bear with me, I really need your advice. We started dating in high school and at the beginning, things went pretty well, I would say. The problem is that about a year ago we broke up for 2 weeks. The reason was that I am not wife material, that I talk too much, that I use him for money, even though he bought me gifts, I never asked for anything. The gifts were things like a hair mask or small things I occasionally mentioned I liked, but nothing expensive. We lived together for a year during college, and I had to cook, clean, and take care of the housework because he didn't do absolutely anything, and since it was his apartment, he said, "The least you can do is help around here." I cooked occasionally since we both got food from our parents. And I cleaned when he wasn't home because he said the noise from the vacuum cleaner bothered him. However, when we broke up, he told me that I didn't do anything around the house, which didn't align with his vision of a future wife. He said he would only marry me if I fulfilled those expectations. Whenever I tried to express my feelings or tell him what was bothering me, he never really listened, always blamed me, played the victim, and justified his behavior based on my actions. I was always the one at fault for his behavior. After we broke up, just a few days later, he started talking to another girl with the idea of starting a new relationship. From what I believe, it didn't work out, likely because the girl wasn't interested, and after 2 weeks, he tried to get back with me. The condition for getting back together was that I would change. The change meant that I had to always do everything around the house without ever asking him for help because that annoyed him. Even though we were both busy with university and came home equally tired. Also, I shouldn't tell him everything that happened in my daily life anymore, because for him those things were insignificant, while for me they were important. He said it drained him emotionally. I had to support his personal projects and never give my honest opinion if I disagreed. For example, he wanted to become a professional football player, even though he had never played football in his 23 years of life. He believed that if he worked hard, he could reach the same level as top league players in a very short time. Personally, I didn't think this was realistic, since those people have been training since they were kids. But apparently, it bothers him that I don't blindly believe in him and that I question things. After those 2 weeks apart, we met again. At that point, he considered I had changed because I became more independent, had a new job, and my personal life was going well, while his was not. We got back together. Things went well for a while because I stopped sharing what was happening in my life, we only texted in the evenings. In the morning, we would just say good morning and that was it. I stopped asking for his opinion on things because he used to say it annoyed him when I didn't make decisions by myself. Things went okay until a certain point, but honestly, I feel like what he does is just the bare minimum. My best friend says he's not the right person for me, but it's hard for me to accept that, and that's why I'm here hoping to open my mind. He works in another city, and when he comes back home. Out of the 2 weeks he's here, he only spends about 5 days with me, and that, only because I insist. He prefers spending time with his family or friends, and even when we're together, if his friends call him to hang out, he insists that we go out with them too. Sometimes, if I ask why he postpones some of our plans, he says it's because of the weather, but when I keep asking, he admits he just doesn't feel like going out. There was even a time when we were supposed to go out, and 30 minutes before, he told me, "We're not going out anymore, right? Because it's raining, we'll go out on day X," without asking if I was okay with that or if I was available that day. Later, I found out he went out with his father instead. When I asked why he went with him but not with me, he said it was because they went by car. But he never asked me if I wanted to come along, even though he had access to the car. He never makes plans for us to visit another city or to spend time at a cabin, but if his friends invite him, he's always the first to go. When I was stressed with exams, he wasn't supportive at all. There were times I would start crying, and instead of comforting me, he would just leave and go play on the computer while I kept crying in bed. During that stressful period, he said I had changed and blamed me for being more sensitive or irritable, even though I was under a lot of pressure and my boss was making my work life a nightmare. Maybe I was more withdrawn or irritable, but that was one of the reasons he broke up with me, because I had changed during that time. When my mom would send us food while we were living together, if he ate from it, he wouldn't wash the container afterward. His reason was that it wasn't his container, so I should wash it. When I ask him what type of girl he likes, he describes someone completely opposite to me. I understand and don't get upset, but when I ask him who he would choose between me and that type of girl, he says, of course, her. That makes me feel bad. I asked this because before we got together, he liked one of my friends and told me he was more attracted to her than to me. When he broke up with me, he told me that he had lost his feelings for me 2 years before he decided to end things. But just one day before breaking up, he told me that he loved me, and after we got back together, a few days later, he told me again that he loved me. Since we reconciled, he has become more affectionate, seems more involved, and seems like he's trying, but I still notice that he falls back into his old behaviors. Even though he said he would change, like improving communication, listening to me during conflicts, and not always playing the victim. It's been almost a year, and I see that he tries, but I don't see much progress. I feel like we have very different values. He wants a traditional wife who stays home, cooks, cleans, does everything, and doesn't work. I want to be independent, have a job, and not be financially dependent on him. When it comes to kids, he says he will be involved, but I don't know what to believe. Now he's a bit more involved with house chores, asks if I need help, but I always refuse. However, when I finish cooking, he never takes the initiative to wash the dishes. It feels like he only asks because he knows I'll say no. Still, I see him making an effort in terms of communication. Before, he used to say I bored him with my stories, now he seems more interested and involved in conversations, if I tell him I'm in pain. He never asks why or any follow-up questions, his standard answer is just, I'm sorry. Additionally, he has a very well-paid job, earning above average, and he is financially stable. He deeply values his friendships because, during his childhood, he was introverted and still is. He struggles to adapt to new situations, which may also explain some of his behavior. In conclusion, I see a genuine effort from him to change and become the right person for me, but I don't know what to think, if I should stay with him or not. Thanks for watching, come back again.